let's say that someone's got some really strong controls in place for their core IDP, like Microsoft or Okta or whatever. Maybe they've got some really tight IP restrictions in place so that you can only connect from a certain office location, which makes it much more difficult for someone to access their account from a different location. I just want to show you that this is a much more widespread problem, and I'm going to talk about how we can hijack downstream SaaS apps as well. So let's imagine that as an attacker, often an identity provider is actually a means to an end. Often an identity provider is the way you access other apps. So I'm going to assume here that the attacker's actually interested in compromising the Atlassian account of this user. I'm just going to show you how the user accesses Atlassian normally. In this case, they're performing an SSO login using a social login, or otherwise known as an OIDC login. So they click that login with Microsoft button, and because they're already logged in with Microsoft, it performs an SSO-based login, and they access Atlassian this way. However, Atlassian has a completely different web session to Microsoft. So I'm going to perform the same steps I did again to export the data, and I'm going to show what happens when an attacker tries to just do what we did last time first of all and access the Microsoft account. So I'm going to import those cookies again, but in this case we've got very strict conditional access policies set up, and so it's going to make it harder. And you can see now I get a warning, oh, your sign-in was successful but doesn't meet the criteria to access this resource. Now, it doesn't give you the specific details from the attacker's side there, but I can tell you this is because of IP address restrictions that I put in place via conditional access policies. So, okay, maybe we could try and change our location somehow, but as an attacker, I'm actually going to say, do you know what? I want access to Atlassian, so maybe I can see if I can steal that. So instead, I import the Atlassian cookies, and then I try to access Atlassian directly without even going via Microsoft. And now, because I've stolen the valid Atlassian session that doesn't have conditional access policies in place, it's a completely separate web session, I can access that directly. So downstream SaaS app session theft is a significant issue too, to complicate matters. And just to show this is a wider issue, I don't want you to think that vulnerabilities in very specific apps here. I'm talking about a broad class of attacks that affect almost everything.